and maybe going to declassify some stuff that everybody knows that they torture people, you know, put 3 people in jail. I mean, okay, that's cute. And we like something about, which if we read her through Africana, maybe the first African appointee to the Supreme Court. What we understand is that the way she was looking at the people questioning her this summer, I said, that's an African woman right there. She's Puerto Rican, but what the hell does that mean when Africans blended up with Spanish, blended up with, it was very clear. If you read that as a cultural text, you maybe seen the first African that went up there, Clarence Thomas and Senator Marshall, not this thing. That having been said, so he did that, but if you look at Obama's policies, they are ridiculously small-minded. He's not even a good practice. And the guy that died on Tuesday, Obama could have stayed in the Senate 50 years and never had as many. Any of y'all worked for Obama when he was in the Senate? You know, campaign, sure, we work, but I'm saying, we had Howard student clerk that day. They said you can count the black people on Obama's day. And if you're a young woman of European descent, you probably have a good shot at getting hired. My point is that black people, there it is. But that's not the point, because Obama's not the point. As you said, he's a milestone, meaning he's a cultural text and practice. He's something that anchors and movement and memory. But inevitably, in terms of ways of knowing, oh no, man. I didn't think I was going to live to see it, but I hope my grandchildren would. See what? Oh, it's going to happen. What's going to happen? It's either this country going to do right, or there ain't going to be no country. In other words, the idea in this way of knowing, and it's the same optimism that informs the blues. The blues is a depression. The blues is resolving conflict with the expectation that inevitably conflict will be resolved. This is all part and parcel of what Cedric Robinson talks about in this book, part 2, as the black radical tradition. The black radical tradition, simply put, is African ways of knowing that had to be applied by African people in their own governance structure when they came into contact with African ways of knowing that African people had to apply to the governance structures they created as they came into contact with social structures that were hostile. The hostility of a social structure that Cedric Robinson describes in part 1 of his book as racial capitalism. Why was this book necessary to write? Robinson said, and let me ask you about Germany. What generally would you assume to be the most radical social theory of the last couple of hundred years, in terms of the most radical attempt to explain the nature of capitalism and imperialism? What is considered the most radical social philosophy? Marxism, or some variation of it. Talk about nihilism, you talk about whatever. Cornel West gets lost in his own sentences, so I'm not quite sure what he believes. Socialist, Democrat, Christian, pragmatist. Or, we put it down to 3 words, living from Cassidy. I'm a hustler. But anyway, my point is that, but he was considered himself, when you all got this book, didn't he? What did he say it was? It's on the back of the book. Somebody read it out loud right now. First book. Oh no, you were describing it. That's very good. But, right, let's go to the left. To the left of that. In the red words. That's it. Cornel West calls it, what a towering achievement! Simply nothing like it in the history of radical thought. Translated. I read it. I could write it like this. Good job, bitch. Robin Kelly, not to be outdone. What does he say? I can say, without a trace of hyperbole. Anybody, somebody said that? Get ready for the hype. Let's see. What does he say next? You got to go. This book changed my life. Not the B-I-B-L-E book for me, however perhaps it is for him. Without a trace of hyperbole, this book changed my life. It's my friend Robin Kelly. This is the latest edition. This book came out in 1980 in a press in London, Z Press. In published in the United States. This version is published by who? University of North Carolina. Who wrote the foreword? Robin Kelly. Talking about on the phone. He said, we got a new edition of Black Horses coming out. I said, finally, you do realize, of course, this book covers up all y'all posers. We started that. I said, we don't teach civic policy. He said, you know my brother. We started that. A week later in the mail, comes a copy of the book. To my friend Greg. I'm sending me a copy. Oh, I get it. It's like, let me introduce you at the counter. So if you put your name and this dude's name, people think, okay, you like this dude. This book changed his life. He was a graduate student at UCLA, right? He said he got this book in the mail, the original edition when he was a grad student. He read it to review the book. He said, by the time he finished, go ahead, we're going to read it for ourselves. We're going to read it. This book may have changed his life, but the point is, if it changed your life, you got to continue this work. How many of y'all have heard of this book before this play? Very good. So, criminals hang out with the wrong crowd. Sure, many of you have heard from slavery. I don't know, race matters. All right, what else did he say? Black Marxism remains as fresh and insightful as it was when it was first composed, still productively engaged with the central questions posed by histories of the African, what's the word? Diaspora. Robinson, the black African tradition is Africana ways of knowing, pressed down and shaken together into African governance structure, used to meet the challenge of living in the social structure of racial capitalism prior to its appearance. Well, there are other folks who you think try to take on the idea of articulating the relationship of black ways of knowing to how black people survive, not only in America, not only in the Caribbean and Latin America, but in Europe, but these last 500 years, you think other people try to do that? Name some of the people who you think produced, perhaps, who you would think people would say produced some of the most brilliant and insightful attempts to explain what the hell happened to us over the last 500 years. Oh, there you go, the DV. Boys. The whole chapter is important. Yes, ma'am. Well, go ahead. A contemporary said Robinson. Interestingly enough, and many of us have read Exchanging Our Country Marks in the courses we had together, or sometimes you read them, okay, but if you haven't. Senator Robinson writes the functional equivalent of Exchanging Your Country Marks within some of these chapters in part 2. Long before Michael Gomez publishes his book. I'm getting the impression that Michael Gomez read Senator Robinson. I think he probably did. Anybody else? John Franklin definitely tried to explain. Franklin made historic the phrase from slavery to freedom. Yes. Carter Woodson. This man is not given enough credit. I'll name some women in a minute. In fact, let's declare a moratorium on any more men. Until we name at least one woman. Yeah. We're getting here. Oh, about communism. Ah, yes. This is good. No, we're talking about Claudia Jones. Yes, Claudia Jones. Very important. Priscilla done Houston up here. That's good. Oh, everybody be named. Oh, yes, yes. Cooper. Right. Definitely. Live right down the street. On the street school. Good. All preceding Robinson. There are some names you may not have heard of. Oliver Cromwell Cox, who we'll talk about. I'll put Sylvia Winter up here. These are all names you should know. These are folks who are trying to grapple with the idea of what happens to black people and what should do now. So, yes.
Hilliard.
Paul again?
Asa Hilliard.
Who? Oh, Asa. Oh, yeah. Hilliard. Yes. All right. How many of these people? Yes. Elijah Muhammad.